These days it can feel as if almost everything is crowdfunded, and on Give a Little, more than $50,000 is donated every day. Well, now we can firmly add cleaning up rivers to the crowdfunding list. Born out of a realisation that the government wasn't doing everything it could, the Million Metres project plants native trees and native plants on the edges of catchments and waterways. They then essentially act as filters, stopping sediment getting into rivers, which over time helps clean them up. Zach Fleming and our cameraman Bradley White went along to the planting, and if you're watching online or on Sky Channel 83, Freeview Channel 50, the pictures in this story are stunning.
The Hōtio River, like so many of our waterways, was once clean, pristine. Nearly 20 kilometres long, it snakes from Wellsford all the way west to the Kaipara Harbour. And today it's among the worst for clarity and phosphorus, and in the bottom half for E. coli and nitrogen, largely because of sediment coming off farms. Cue the Million Metres project.
This is one of the key things that we can do to make a difference right now.
Georgina Hart, the project's head of water restoration, joined 14 others yesterday, mostly volunteers, to plant the edges of the Hōtio's uppermost catchment at Te Arai, which is on the east coast right on the border of Auckland and Northland.
All the water that rains onto the land here flows into little streams that flow into the Hōtio River. The Hōtio River flows down into the southern Kaipara. So one of the main environmental issues with the water quality in the Hōtio River is sediment. And one of the key things that planting trees and shrubs along the edge of a waterway does is stop the sediment or the soil getting off the land into the water.
And it's charity, grassroots work. The funding's almost entirely private, except a $60,000 a year grant from the Department of Conservation. But that grant doesn't go far. The 1 kilometre that was planted yesterday...
That was about $40,000.
So it's not cheap?
It's not cheap. Yeah.
Projects are in place from Northland all the way down to Wanaka. And planting this catchment doesn't just make the rivers downstream more swimmable. The Kaipara Harbour is also one of the North Island's key snapper breeding grounds. But it's complex because most of the work the Million Metres team does needs a farmer's blessing. Most catchments, around 95% for the Hōtio River, are on private land. Today, that farmer's John Taylor.
We've owned this for 50 years, since 1967.
And back then he was told to uproot his trees.
The first probably 5 years we spent every winter with an axe and a slasher cutting it all down.
Why?
Well, that was the idea in those days.
John says that bad advice, which was given to many farmers around New Zealand in the 60s, is a massive part of why so many rivers are dirty today. And it's advice that's proved to be expensive.
We've put around about 100,000 of our own money in.
Expensive but worthwhile.
I mean, I'd go down the bottom there and drink the water. It wouldn't worry me. It's because it's clean, apart from after a flood event or something when it gets, violently churned up.
And you believe that's the direct result of what's happening here, planting in the river?
Yeah, we're keeping stock out of the watercourses. And anybody that knows, stock walk down, they push it in, then it gets washed out, and it's that sediment that is a big thing.
If Georgina and John are the brains, people like Freddie Carr are the brawn.
I think it's all connected, so you do one thing to help something and it's, helping the whole ecosystem.
She drove nearly 5 hours from Ohope Beach to volunteer. 3 others were there on corporate responsibility. Rental car company Juicy backed the project. Other companies back projects too. The Body Shop is a major sponsor. In the 2.5 years it's been running, Million Metres has planted more than 75,000 plants and trees, which may sound like a lot, but actually is just 20 kilometres.
What we're seeing is that the scale of riparian planting that's needed around the country is so huge.
Only 980,000 kilometres to go. For Checkpoint, Zach Fleming.
And Auckland Council, together with the Forest Bridge Trust, have also been working to reduce sediment going into the Hōtio River. Since 2014, they've spent more than $500,000 in the area, which includes both riparian planting and fencing.